It's possible. The first thing you need to understand, however, is what is the purpose of the assay when you use it in your trial, because it may have different implications. Overall, any situation when you impact the clinical follow-up of patients, the clinical care that is given to them, you typically become an in vitro diagnostic medical device. You basically have two scenarios. Either you are using an IVD that is already approved on the market, already cleared for the use you propose, and it's kind of the easy situation. Sometimes you don't have such assays on the market, or they are not approved exactly for the use you propose. So in that case, this assay is considered investigational. So you can use it in your trial, but you also need to evaluate this assay. You need to build data to justify that it's adequate for use in your trial. In case you need to use an IVD in your trial, the first thing to look at is there a commercialized assay available on your market or markets of interest? Keep in mind the different markets of interest you want to address in your development, as it may save you a lot of time and efforts in the development activities. The other point is ultimately to keep the end goal in mind, meaning that you can obviously be focused on your development for your drug, but don't forget that if you don't have, by the time of commercialization, an approved test on the market, patients, doctors will not be able to use your drug. So it's also part of your long-term strategy to think not only about your clinical trial, your development, but also making sure that by the time you get to the market, there is actually a usable solution that people can use associated with your drug product. When you associate a component to your own drug or medical device, you might use a component developed by a third party. The first thing is to understand your own role and responsibilities when you make the association. If we take an example, if you take your own drug and you associate it with a commercial administration system as a medical device to be used together, you're not only responsible for your drug, you are also distributing a commercial medical device. Another scenario, which is more extreme, is when you take a commercial device on the market, but you modify it to fit your need, or you change its intended purpose to adapt to your product. In that case, you're not only a distributor, you're also taking a responsibility as a legal manufacturer because you modify an existing product. So depending on which scenario we're in, it completely changes the obligations, the requirements you have to meet as a company, as an individual company. So it's something that needs to be understood early on so you can structure your own activity, your own responsibilities in line with the role you will endorse. So once you have understood how you structure your own activity, what role you will endorse, you will also be able to establish a quality agreement with a partner, with a third party who might develop or take some of the activities for the other component, the device or the drug, for example. It will serve to formalize the role and responsibilities of each party, not only during development, but also for commercialization, for post-market activities, because you will need to collaborate during the whole life cycle of your combination, including when you have post-market events that arise that need to be addressed. There needs to be a continued communication across the two companies, and you need to understand how to define those collaboration modalities so that they are clear and there's no ambiguity when collaborating with another company. And obviously, the last thing when you do a partnership is to understand when you select potential partners whether they have the right expertise, the right capabilities, the right experience to cover all of your needs, meaning that they need to have experience in the type of product they need to be working on, but also to cover the necessary geographies you might be interested in. So in that case, you would need to discuss early with your partner to see if they would be willing to expand their own activities what financial terms come with the collaboration to find out what's the best solution for you.